Don't say it. Don't say it, Matthew. Don't. No, don't. Don't. No. Please don't. Don't. Just keep it in your head. Don't say it out loud. Oh God, you're going to say it.
Anyone got the hotels for Wembley booked, just in case? Somebody had to say it. That's right, Newcastle fans. Football is back after a 2-week break, what feels like 2 years. We are in FA Cup action down at Craven Cottage on Saturday.
Against Fulham!
Saturday night. And for me, it's a very big game. But one thing I'm going to be talking about on this video, as well as previewing the match, is whether it's a bigger game for the fans than what it is the owners. Fulham away, FA Cup, 4th round. The preview's coming up, Newcastle fans. So do us a favour, if you're curious, and stick around for some black and white banter. Welcome back to Black and White Banter, you lovely Newcastle fans, and happy weekend to you as you're watching this match. I hope if you are going down to London, you are enjoying your travels as you maybe tune into this, maybe with a can in hand on a train or a bus, or maybe you just sat in the back of the car, sick of the sound of your friend who cannot have a drink because he's driving, sat in the opposite seat. Wherever you're watching this from, I appreciate each and every single one of you, and if you are new around here, or if you're not new, the one thing I want you to do is drop us a little likey, Lou. A little thumbs up does not sound like it means a lot to you, but it makes this video just go to a couple more eyes, and wouldn't that be nice for me? And it takes you no work at all, really. No work at all. And if you like my opinion by then, subscribe. Now, I am going to start this video by breaking some very bad news and some very frustrating news. I am not going down to Fulham. Just giving myself a second there, even when I say it out loud, it still hurts. No, I'm not. Anyone who watches my videos knows I do pretty much follow Newcastle home and away. It's a big part of my life, and especially after a 3 weeks since the last away game, Sunderland, in the FA Cup 3rd round, it's broke my heart a little bit. It was a mixture of things. First and foremost, I'll get my quick rant out the way. ITV making it at 7 o'clock. That was a problem. It was going to cost me to go down there and back on the same day without even staying over, basically £200 if you took your food and drink in as well. I'm going to Villa on Tuesday, Forest the week after. It's a lot of money for a Saturday night FA Cup game, and I've bankrupted myself almost in the past couple of years supporting this football club. Well, that's an exaggeration, but I do think with my head over my bank balance sometimes supporting this club, as we all do. This was just one too many, £200 for a trip down to Fulham and getting back at 6 o'clock in the morning. And one other reason that I couldn't go down is my beautiful little girl had nobody to look after her. My usual dog sitter wasn't free, and this girl normally gets her own way. Yes, that's right, Maggie the Mag had nobody to look after her, did you? So I've let her fend for herself in the past. Hasn't gone well. I'm joking. I did try and ring Craven Cottage, see whether she'd be allowed in. Apparently she'd be a little bit too rowdy and they were worried she might wind up the home fans, kicking off in the streets, isn't that right? So yes, as much as football is my life, sometimes some little people are a little bit more important. But that's my rant over. We never thought about as fans with these kickoffs. We've got Arsenal at 8 o'clock on a Saturday night in a couple of weeks. I wish everyone the best going down there, and I just wish I was joining you. Watching it in the house or in the pub over Newcastle is just not really my cup of tea. But hey-ho, on to the game we go. Do you want to stay for this video? She might stay for this one. So, interesting one that I'm going to dive into first with this. I'm going to make the ballsy statement. Well, not ballsy, in my opinion. I'm sure there'll be lots of Newcastle fans would agree that I genuinely believe this is one of, if not the, currently now, with all the games that are already behind us, one of the biggest games of the season. It is. For me, it is. I'm a football fan. We haven't got too much to play for this season. The league campaign's slipped off a little bit. I do think we'll improve. I do. I think we'll finish the Premier League season strong. But there's no Carabao. There's no European football. And you've got to remember, Newcastle fans, with the FA Cup, the semi-finals are at Wembley. So if we get through this game against Fulham, we are not too far away from another one of them amazing weekends. Imagine. And then, you get through again. Don't get me wrong, I don't agree with the FA Cup format of semi-finals at Wembley. I think it's ridiculous how you visit twice, so it takes away from the centrepiece of the final. But regardless, we very close. And, you know, to win the FA Cup, which is another conversation altogether, because, you know, there's going to be some big teams gunning for this competition, of course. There is Liverpool, Man City. We're not up there in that conversation. But to win this competition, you do get European football. You get the Europa League at the end of it. The runner-up, I believe, if the winner of the competitions in the Champions League, the runner-up gets a European place. I could be wrong on that. Someone let me know in the comments. But so there's a lot to play for with this. But what I genuinely wonder, is whether this competition, this match against Fulham, means more to the fans, like me, like you, than what it does the owners. And the only reason I say that is my gut feeling tells me now, with everything that's going on behind the scenes, and Darren Eales' conversations about maybe having to sell players, transfer links coming in. Sorry, she's just starting to fall asleep. Transfer links coming in. I don't know. The FA Cup's not big prize money. The FA Cup, I don't think our owners will be seeing us as a realistic possibility of winning the competition, which is the only thing that would bring European football, as I mentioned, I think. I don't think these Wembley trips and a competition like the FA Cup means as much to our Saudi-based owners as what it does the fans. And I could be wrong on that. I just get a hint that this season has been written off a little bit. And of course, our owners don't want to see us finish 12th or 13th or 14th. Of course they don't. I'm not saying that for a second. But I do think part of their strategic brain has already gone to next season because of our injuries, because of the fact we're only going to see, you know, your Andersons, your Willocks, your Barnes back gradually, maybe like late February before they're properly all up to speed again, and then starting to fight the way into starting places in the team. I'm not saying Amanda and Mairdad will not be travelling down to London. They won't be buzzing if we get over the line and go into the 5th round. I personally believe this one means more to us fans than them, and I don't think too much upset will be caused behind the scenes in the boardroom if we go out. But that being said, onto the match itself. Call me overexcited because there hasn't been much football. Call me overly optimistic. You call me whatever you like. That's what I like about the comments. Right, time for you to get down, Mags. I'm very, very, very confident on this one. I am. I expect us to come out all guns blazing, and if anybody watches my videos knows exactly what I keep saying about this Newcastle team under this manager, it's that intensity and the way we play, which is quite unique, is so suited to having these breaks, to playing one game a week, especially when we can't rotate. And we still can't. There's maybe he's talked about Murphy making the squad today after he's been back in training. Generally speaking, our first 11 picks itself, and that's what we left with. And the fact we've had a 2-week break has always done this Newcastle team good. Yes, we normally go away on these winter camps, these summer, I don't want to say summer camp, these winter break training camps. We haven't done that this time, and Eddie Howe's reasoning for that is we've had so much Champions League, so much Carabao action, the players just needed to mentally switch off. So we haven't done that. But what I saw against Man City after we had a first full week after the Derby game was that zip came back in the first half. That press, that organisation, that discipline, that aggression. And that's what's made us exactly what we've been in the last 2 years. That's our identity, and it's the most cringe term you can use supporting this football club, but it's so true at the same time. And I look at our opposition, Fulham, very good at home, very, very good record at home, and I'll touch on the stats in a second. But they played midweek against Liverpool in the Carabao. We've had a 2-week break. Players like Botman, Isak, Bruno, all of our big hitters are going to be gunning, and they are going to want to stay in a competition. If you are a motivated footballer, and I would like to hope now with the model that we have, signing players for 65 million, every player at this club now is motivated and wants to start getting to the bigger matches and the bigger cup finals. They'll be up for this one. They certainly will. And I'm very, very, very confident. There is nothing for me logically, and this is why I really hope I'm not doing an angry video in the aftermath, because I will be angry if we don't. There is nothing that suggests that we should put on a bad performance today. Not one single thing. Players fresh, strong starting 11. Livramento, you'd expect he's back after a bit of illness, so you've got options there at full-back. I'll touch on teams in a second. Yes, we've got injuries. Joe Linton's absolutely huge loss. Huge. He was against Man City. But we've got enough in the tank. He's actually Gordon's. Gordon is a player who needed that break. He did. I saw he went to New York, went to watch a bit of basketball. You do you, mate. If you want to, walk the streets of New York with a bagel and get your photo in Times Square with Mickey Mouse, then you do whatever you got to do. Come back fighting fit, and we go harder. Team news. Again, it's as you were. The main debate, you could argue, is whether Almira will be in the squad with all this unsure talk. The video of him walking in the RVI, that was squashed apparently on Twitter. Is he going to be in the squad? If he's not in the squad, that throws up a question of who the hell do you play on as part of a front three. If he is, he picks himself. I believe Almiron will be in the squad. I do. It'll be interesting to see, because anyone who's not in the squad from the players linked, Trippier, again being another one, that would cause an absolute shitstorm on social media, and you'd assume that they are about to leave. So we'll keep an eye on that one, but generally speaking, the only other debate is fullback. And for me, if Livramento is fit, he plays at left back. And we keep having this conversation. Eddie Howe has his favourites, and I'm not denying that, but doesn't every good manager? For me, Livramento plays because Fulham have a player who could start today, Harry Wilson. He came on against Liverpool midweek. He's a very, very good player. He looked very bright. He's one of the most fouled players in the Premier League this season. Racking up 1.7, an average of 1.7. I mean, how do you get a 0.7 of a foul? I don't know. 1.7 fouls per game. He's very tricky. And he'll really, really fancy himself against Dan Burn, in my opinion. Livramento, he can have him. Livramento's looked nothing short of immaculate since he's come into this club, and he offers us something a little bit more going forward, and we have to take the game to Fulham. No disrespect to them. They've got good players. I'm not denying they've got a very good home record this season, but we rested, and I would always back us. I'm not going to look into the game in December. Jimenez was sent off for that karate kick early on, and it was all Newcastle after that. We couldn't take too much from that game. I think Fulham fans would agree, most Newcastle fans would agree. We were in control before the red card, but just it changes it in an absolute second, and it was stupidity from the Mexican, wasn't it? So I'm not going to look into that one, but we have already got that mental advantage, if you like, that we've already battered them. At St James's earlier in the season. You always learn things. Eddie Howe will have studied them after the match of that video. In that match, I wouldn't be surprised if he's watched that rerun of that game a million times over, because we know what he's like as a manager. And I really want us in that fifth round. I do. You just need a couple of favourable draws to get to that semi-final at Wembley first and foremost. We got it last season. Look at our League Cup draw last year that took us to Wembley. We got Leicester at home. We got Crystal Palace, Bournemouth, Southampton in the semi-final. You just need a bit of a favourable draw. And I'm not saying, would I want to go to a final and get battered by a Man City or a Liverpool? No, but I don't think we are a team who gets battered anymore. I genuinely don't. I don't. We've seen it. The few occasions we've seen it under Eddie Howe since he's been in charge, it's mainly because of injuries and amount of games, in my opinion. The matches we haven't played great. So this one is a big game for me. So before we go into predictions, let's get into some black and white banter. Yeah, you guessed it. Stats. If there is one part of London that Newcastle like playing in, and a team from London that Newcastle like playing against, it is the Cottagers. We have literally won 5 of our last 6 games against Fulham, scoring 15 and conceding only 3. And if you go back to last season, that 4-1 away when I was there for that one was absolutely class. A certain Miguel Almiron scored what I still believe was a little bit fluky, but a very, very good goal that day. And clean sheets, remember them? We haven't had too many of them this season compared to last year. Newcastle have actually kept 5 clean sheets out of their last 7 games against Fulham in all competitions. So hopefully that happens, at least to get us a draw and take them back to St James's Park tonight. And last but certainly not least, a one for the oldies watching this video, if there is any out there. Fulham have lost all 4 of their FA Cup matches against Newcastle between 1908 and 1961. So if anyone wants to get in the comments and can remember any of those matches, that would make you 40... at least pushing 70s, get down, because those are the stories I love to hear. So, all the stats are positive. even if I'm probably clutching at straws a little bit with the ones going back to the 60s. Can Newcastle get a win and get in that lovely 5th round for one of them balls swirling round in the bowl at the end of the weekend? I'm saying yes. I'm very confident about this one. Maybe you could even argue a little bit too confident just because of the break, and that's how important I think it is to this group of players. I'm going to go for Newcastle 3-1. I think Isak's going to be on absolute fire. I think Gordon's going to come out all guns blazing, and I just feel like Bruno, they're all going to be in that sort of mood, and I think it'll be a little bit too much for Fulham to handle. That's what I'm going to go for. But Newcastle fans, don't forget, because we don't have all these matches anymore, a replay is not the end of the world. We get Fulham back to St James's. If it has to end a draw at Craven Cottage, worst case scenario, that's not the worst case scenario, but a draw's not a bad result. A good Premier League outfit in Fulham, packed St James's 50,000. I've got no doubts we'd sell out for that one on a Wednesday night. I'd take a draw now, I probably would, and we'll beat them at St James's. Drop down though, Newcastle fans, let us know your thoughts. Don't let me know your thoughts on Jurgen Klopp. That's the last thing I want to hear about, because it's all I've heard for the last 24 hours. But did anyone notice a certain man hiding in the background with a sign on his interview to say that he was leaving? Just me? Thank you very much for watching, Newcastle fans. Enjoy your trip if you're going down there. I'm not jealous at all, and give us your predictions in the comments. Hopefully a video reaction is coming straight after the match, and it'll be a positive one, and you might have to, just might, tell your ma, you won't be home for tea. We're going to Wembley. I won't book the hotels, I promise. How are you, the lads?